Hey, welcome to American Blacksmith and part 2 of our Heritage Museum bench project. All right, this is our base plate, mounting plate for the bench that we forged in part 1, and we had put this wood grain texture on the top, and today we're going to go ahead and cut the holes for the mounting, and we're going to use a plasma cutter to do this. Shall I carve? Okay, now I'm going to explain how to assemble the legs to the base plate. I took and cut out the 1.5 inch outside diameter, and then the collar will be on it. And what I'll do when I assemble it, I'll leave this tubing out just about 1/4 inch. Just slightly under, and that way it'll insert into the plate, and then I can weld it from underneath. And then we can do intense structural type welding underneath it, but then won't have exposed welds. Okay, next we're going to cut 3 more plates for our bench with the shear. Okay, next thing we're going to do is punch our 1/2 inch holes for our mounting plate. And we're going to, this is called a stripper. And its function is to be able to pull the piece apart. Okay, a little lube on the punch. Make it easy to come apart. Here's one of the plugs from the shear, and we keep these because we make nails out of them. So here's the leg screws that we're going to be using for the top mount, or I should say on the bottom of the bench itself. So what we'll do is we'll put 3 leg screws in here, like so. That'll be the underneath of the bench. And then the folks that are going to be installing it will provide the bottom anchor security bolts. Okay, for the mounting plates for the bench itself, we don't need to do any kind of hammering in that. It's purely structural, so it's not going to need to be decorative. Same with the bolts. We're just going to use standard bolts that'll be easy to get a impact wrench on. Okay, we're going to talk about how we forge collars and then how we bend them and install them. You've heard me mention possibly Francis Whitaker of Aspen, Colorado. I had the privilege of working with him 6 different times. He was my mentor and my friend, and we're going to use his cookbook. Francis had a very good sense of humor, so when he did his instructional book, he called it a cookbook, Recipes in Iron. And he was the best that I know of at making and forming collars. Basically, this was Francis' formula for forming collars. So we take the first flat piece, like so, determine the length, then bevel it opposite on each end. Then when you figure out your distances, you fold your short end first in a vise. The thicknesses that we're using, you need to heat these things up. Francis used to use a sheet metal brake to make his first bends, and I just use a vise, heat it, bend it over, and then you use this folding process, and you make blocks to put in between here to help you with the folding and to make some extra distance, and we'll show you more of that. But this is the one that we did yesterday. That'll be for this. And then we're at this stage. Here's an example of the backside of some collaring that's been assembled. And as you can see, the fold over here. So your bevel will be on each end piece, and then when you fold them in the right order. All right, we're going to do the first bend. Macy. Not Mace, buddy. You don't want a hot dog. Nice rounded edge.